What is the worst thing you can imagine doing? I wonder. How many of you thought about murdering your spouse or parent? 1922, a story written by none other than Stephen King, is psychologically twisted enough to imagine it. And he did a great job. I love this story so much because it isn't just a shock value horror story, but a longitudinal exploration of the horrors of the psyche, using my favorite rhetorical device, symbolism. I'm going to provide an exciting description of 1922, as well as my thoughts on the subject. We open to the letter of confession to the murder of Arlette James in the year 1922 by her husband, Wilfred James. When Arlette decides to sell her farmland and move the family to the big city, Wilfred takes this opportunity to end his unhappy marriage and gain a little land in the process. He promises a reality for father and son to live a simple, happy farmer's life. In his confession, Wilfred takes full responsibility for manipulating his 14-year-old son, Henry James, into committing the unthinkable. The atmosphere left between father and son? Static silence. In this silence, Wilfred begins to hear the rats chewing and scratching at Arlette's body out in the well. It isn't long before the rats are infesting the barn, destroying the livestock, and the drought is sucking the life out of the crops. Henry makes his way out. The rats make their way in. In the end, you're left with nothing but the prickly silence and the rats that never stop scratching and chewing. These both real and hallucinated rodents eat away the substance, the bonds, the walls, and the psyche. This decaying symbolism is the fear factor that I love so much. I think the substance would be the heart of the home, Arlette. Although she was no saint, she made the boys and house a family and a home. While her role was short-lived, I liked its importance to the story. And like Arlette, every single bond collapsed under the weight of Wilfred. Whether it was his own relationship or not, everything within a close vicinity to him was ultimately shattered. I thought the inclusion of relationships that didn't involve Wilfred, merely touched by him, was a meticulous detail worth appreciating. I think the walls of the house symbolize the structure of Wilfred's life and mind, and as the walls deteriorate, Wilfred's sanity and survival slip away. The way this element paints an eerily vivid picture in the reader's mind is another part that I really liked. With every layer, bond, wall eaten away, Wilfred's psyche is left exposed and vulnerable. This exposed vulnerability that ultimately lived within Wilfred all along is what created the static silence that lived in Henry and Wilfred's minds. This massive web of pain is the heart of my captured interest, to destroy all that you love and all that loves you by your own two hands. The idea that anyone could do it, that is fear. I liked that the slow motion deterioration of a human being was so clearly evident in the symbolism of the story. This artfully orchestrated story of a father destroying his life, his family, and himself is bone-chilling. I love how each component of decay relates to a de-evolution happening within, giving readers this creepy insight into the mind of true horror. 1922 is a psychologically provoking novella with an array of symbols woven throughout. Now, I know what you're thinking. Where's the movie? It's stuck sucking, just like Wilfred. Don't watch it.